Napolitano and Ranking Member Westerman. I'm Chad Berginnis, Executive Director of the Association of State Floodplain Managers, and I'm honored to be here today. As we contemplate the most recent round of flooding and the damages that have been caused in the central U.S., in our coastal areas, and even as the result of the failure or near failure of flood control structures like Oroville Dam, we must recognize that as a nation, our current approach is being outpaced by rising seas, more intense rainfall events, and skyrocketing flood damages. Our members are on the front lines of this battle for decades, and we've advocated for sensible policies to reduce flood damages and recognize natural functions of floodplains. Our written testimony contains over 20 recommendations, and we'd like to highlight a few of those today. First, we need a coherent flood management policy to complement our flood control efforts. Among those identified in our testimony, three critical ones are making room for our rivers and setting levees and other flood control structures back, harnessing the benefits of natural infrastructure, and using non-structural measures wherever possible, whenever and wherever structural measures are contemplated. Throughout Corps programs guidance, there's a systematic bias towards structural projects and again, non-structural projects. We must ensure that federal programs like PL 8499 not only require the analysis of such options, but establish a preference for them. Second, guidance documents like principles and guidelines that steer solutions toward those that maximize national economic development need to be replaced by guidance that prioritizes national economic resiliency and sustainability. We need to complement national studies, or complete national studies such as those authorized under Section 2032 of the 2007 WRDA, which analyzes the nation's vulnerability to flooding. We must also ensure that regional studies that are being done for such areas such as the southeastern and Gulf Coast, and even those that are called for on the Missouri, are fully inclusive of all flood loss reduction tools, including non-structural. Third, we believe that there should be organizational changes in the Corps that unlocks the massive knowledge and expertise of its staff for the benefits of the Corps itself and all communities by making technical assistance a top priority. Today's reality is that the Corps employees cannot even lead local workshops without some specific project to pay for it. There were lots of comments earlier today about how the Corps can leverage the expertise, especially in small and rural communities. This is one way to do that. Internally within the Corps, there are centers of expertise like the National Non-Structural Committee, whose role is to advise both internal customers and Corps districts, but also communities and the general public. But these are so under-resourced that they can serve neither very well. This also means that we leverage the good research and development that is being done by the Corps and ensure that it is adopted throughout the agency and disseminated to the public. For example, the Engineering with Nature initiative uses natural processes and systems in concert with engineered systems to produce a more diverse array of economic, environmental, and social benefits. ASFPM hopes that it is adopted widely within the Corps. In a unique public-private partnership with ASFPM and FM Approvals, the National Flood Barrier Testing and Certification Program helps develop and use consensus standards for flood abatement products. But in the 5 years since the standard has been in existence, we have yet to see the Corps include the standards in its policies, procedures, or contracts for flood fighting materials agency-wide. We note that some of the flood fighting products that were used and failed in Iowa this past spring were not certified. Finally, we must vastly improve how we communicate flood risk. Over the last decade, we have seen the creation and availability of online databases like the National Inventory of Dams and National Levee Database, and these are very promising developments, but they are missing critical information. None is more pressing than the information we have chosen to withhold from the public. Inundation mapping where flood control structures are operational or where they fail. Since 9/11, this information has been categorized as for official use only, yet when we have incidents like the near catastrophic event at Oroville Dam in California or the Barker and Addicks reservoirs in Texas, it is unacceptable that tens of thousands of people in harm's way are aware of their flood risk. I hope that these observations and recommendations help better inform your work on the next WRDA, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Berginnis. Mr. Tom Waters, you